Welcome back. All right, we're going to start on our external messages. And I mean, they're often called coincidence. And certainly they can be explained that way. But if it captures your attention or it seems out of place, it's a good idea to see if there's some symbolism attached to it. And this is going back to our friend Google. Um, Coincidence is the language of spirit. It just is. So, Albert Einstein said, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. Personally, I think life is a whole lot more colorful, fun, and interesting when miracles abound. So that's your goal. It's always to have it's always okay to have a healthy skepticism about things. Maybe it is just coincidence. Who knows? I'm never one to say, yep, this is definitely the thing when there are thousands of ways to look at something. At best, I call it interesting out loud. But inside, I have no problem sending up a thank you to spirit. It could be all of that, right? So let's talk about some of those external messages. My favorite, animals, birds, and reptiles. The animal kingdom is full of messages. I have a friend who believes that whenever she sees a spider in the house, there's something she needs to pay attention to. And she would literally say, there have been 6 spiders in my house right lately. Like she's like, they are trying to tell me something. And she'll go and look up what the specific spider is to see what they're trying to say to her. So much so that the other day when I noticed a spider in my bathroom, I had to stop and think about it. I hadn't seen it the day before. I haven't seen it since then. But off to Google I went. I remember like a year or so ago, I saw a tarantula, and I'd never seen the tarantula before, but it stayed there until I absolutely noticed it and stopped and really looked at it so that I could figure out what kind of tarantula it was. And then it went off into a hole. Never saw it again after that. Never saw it again. So, speaking of the spider that I saw, um, off to Google I went, and sure enough, that particular spider symbols balance, curiosity, and personal growth. And given that I had just come through a hairy set of personal lessons, um, I had just given myself permission to finish, thus finishing this course, all of my uncompleted projects. So it made sense. I took it as a sweet little message from spirit that I'm on the right track. Birds are big messengers for me. They show up all the time. I once had a hawk follow me from telephone pole to telephone pole while I was on a walk. I went home and immediately looked up the symbolism, and hawks symbolize vision, getting the big picture, and spiritual awareness. The idea here is that if it's truly is a message for you, it's going to grab your attention and it's going to be unusual. For me, I don't ever view these things as predictive, but more of a confirmation of what I already know. At best, they're a reminder to believe in myself or to find joy or peace. Um, so yeah, no, you've seen this happen a couple of times where I feel like it's okay to go on to the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and go on. But if we get a hit, if I get an internal stop the tape, I'll let you know. But for this one, I feel like it's just important to begin to notice the animals, birds, reptiles that are around you, and see if you can go Google it and see what kind of meaning it has. So repeating numbers. If you have a clock anywhere around you, I want you to start paying attention to what catches your eye. I don't know if it's because I'm just used to it or if it's because it's an actual message. It's really funny, but I usually look at the clock at like 1:11 or 2:22 or 3:33. Here lately, I've got a fuel meter in my car that tells me how many miles are left. And here lately, I've literally gotten into my car and seen 1:11 and 2:22 and been like, okay. So when they have the repeating numbers, those are specifically a set of numbers called angel numbers. And they usually have a message that you're loved and protected, that the angels are guiding you. And you can go and look online and put in angel numbers, and it'll give you like a little chart of what each of them specifically means. But yeah, I mean, 111, 222, 333, 444, 555, those will specifically pop up and have a specific meaning for you. But any number can be significant. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you see a clock that says 328. Remember the number and Google angel number 328. When you wake up the next day, you'll find a message there waiting for you. Angel number 328, by the way, is a message that the angels have heard your prayers and your positive affirmations are assisting and supporting you as you accept the flow of divine abundance in your life. This is according to my favorite number site, Joanne Sacred Scribes, and you'll see the link in there. Joanne Sacred Scribes will take any number that you come up with and give you an interpretation. So that's my favorite site to go. But yeah, I have somebody else who said, I can't remember the number specifically, but she's like, anytime I see this number, I know it's a message for this. So if there's a significant number in your life, Google it and see what it means. Yeah, and there's, of course, the entire study of numerology is out there. And I wish I had taken the time, perhaps one day I will take the time to really study numerology, but I just know for the basics about it and not even what specific numbers mean, because I keep using Joanne Sacred Scribes, but numbers are significant. So pay attention to them. Pay attention to the numbers that show up and start Googling. See what it means. Okay. Yeah, no, we're going on to random repeating patterns. Have you ever watched traffic and noticed that there are several white cars or a line of red cars? Random repeating patterns. Maybe you Google what red means or what white means. I always find it interesting, and I don't know if it's a message or not, but it makes me think of a client of mine. She sent me a message the other day. She kept seeing orange Honda Elements everywhere she went. Her ex-boyfriend owned one. Now it's a thing where you think of white cars and pretty soon you'll see white cars all over the place. But this was a specific type of car. So we began to have wondering if she had some unresolved exes around, or some unresolved issues around her ex, especially because a orange Honda Element is an unusual car. As we investigated further, we tapped into the psychic realm, and sure enough, there were some energetic elements to the story that needed to be resolved. I gave her my prescription for how she should resolve the issues, and sure enough, she stopped seeing orange Honda Elements. Now, she did tell me a couple days later that she saw a green Honda Element. And I'm like, okay, let's go Google green. What's green mean? So call it interesting. Notice it, and then see if there's been a repeating thought pattern in your brain that you need to resolve. And again, it's always okay to be skeptical. Always, always, always. It could have been a miracle, but it also could have been a thing called frequency bias. Science calls it the Bader-Meinhof syndrome. But it's totally interesting that it keeps happening. I want to look real quick at the definition of the Bader-Meinhof syndrome. Hang on just a second. Opening the link. I give you a link. So frequency illusion, it's a cognitive bias occurs when something you've noticed or recently learned somewhere suddenly seems to appear everywhere. But is it appearing more frequently, or is your brain just paying more attention to it? So it's about selective attention, and that's always entirely possible. I would never tell you that it's not, but I would say give it that balance, check in with your body, see what feels right. You just never know. So be willing to investigate and look a little bit deeper at these types of situation, and always, always, always be willing to be wrong. Don't always remember, trust but verify, trust but verify. So anyway, I want you to experiment with these things. I want you to kind of notice in the next couple of days what kind of external messages are coming to you and jot them down. Go off to Google and check them out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. So you have a couple of moments to kind of write down some thoughts. And then we're going to finish up this chapter with types of knowing. Okay, so stop here. We'll see you on the next recording.